Hey friends, Red Specs Gaming here with a quick mod explanation slash review of cloud storage. So, are you tired of being in this situation where you're like, what the heck did I do with that diamond? I know I put it here somewhere, and you got to look through all these containers, and oh, there it is finally. So, you really wish that you just had one big storage container? Well, that's what this mod will give you. It's a really simple storage system uh, that we're going to go over here. So let's get started. Okay, so if you are using a JEI or something similar, and you do at cloud, you'll see that there's very little to this mod. It's pretty simple. And the first thing you'll probably want to do is make the cloud storage a new book. To make that book, though, you need a balloon piece and you need some cloud blocks and a book. So the way you're going to do that is you're going to find a really high mountain. Or in this case, you're going to make a bunch of scaffolding and you're going to build yourself a platform at the top. So this is a very simple platform. It's really just cobblestone. And we're going to go on up here. This is how I've done it in my current game that I'm playing. You want to get up above 196. So I recommend about 200 because the things you're looking for start spawning at above 196. There's going to be balloons and there's going to be clouds. So we're going to go ahead on up here all the way to the top. And once you're up here, you're just going to hang out. Make sure you bring yourself a bow and arrow and a sword. All right, I flipped off peaceful mode and I flipped on survival mode. And one thing you want to make sure you do when you're on this platform is you want to make sure that you've got a lip and that you have auto jump off because you don't want to accidentally go over the edge of this. And you're pretty much just going to hang out up here and you'll start to see these guys spawn. So for example, here comes a balloon. Now balloons are really easy to fight. They've got these hands on the bottom of them and they'll attack you with that hand. They'll slap you around, but they really die to one arrow, just like that. Or one hit with the sword. And when they die, they'll drop balloon pieces like this. The other thing you're going to be looking out for while you're up here are clouds. I believe they're called something different. They're not really called clouds, but they are. They're just clouds. And so we're just kind of waiting for one of those to show up here in a moment. In time, they'll show up. There's one. And when the clouds show up, what they're going to do is they're going to try and blow you off the platform. So that's what they do is they shoot wind. And I'm going to jump and see what happens when you do that. Boom. So that's why you want the lip. That's what the lip protects you from. Okay, so back up here. You can see this is what they'll do is they'll try to blow you off. And what happens when you attack them is they break into smaller versions of themselves. So you just got to kill the smaller versions. The balloons you got to slap with that. And then if you kill the smaller versions and you get lucky, you'll get even smaller versions, of course. You should be getting cloud blocks. See? We're getting cloud blocks. Just like that. So not too difficult to kill. What you need to be aware of though is, let's say the weather. Let's set the weather to rainy. Or yeah. If you get any bad weather, thunder, rain, what happens is the clouds become charged. Like that. You see how he's charged? And then they shoot lightning at you instead of blowing on top of you. So you got to be careful of that because that can get you killed. And when all's said and done, you should end up with some cloud blocks and some balloon pieces, and had they dropped, we should have got some charged blocks too. So let's go back into creative real quick. They're called static, not charged. Static blocks. So it's the difference between the regular blocks and the other one are static. And we'll talk about what these do. Okay, so once you've collected a couple of cloud blocks and some balloons and stuff, you're going to want to make yourself the book for the mod. And that recipe is just one cloud block, one balloon piece, and a book. So if we do that real quick, Boom. Now you have the cloud storage in new book. And it'll outline all of the information about the mob, or about the mod, what the mobs are, the storage in the cloud, a bunch of stuff here, which we'll go over ourselves, so we won't need to read through it. But this gives you a guide to the thing, to the mod itself. Now, at the very basics of, or at the heart of this mod is that it's a storage mod. So really what you're looking to get is enough cloud blocks that you can make yourself this. Cloud blocks surrounding a chest. And so if we do that, you'll see that we get a cloud chest. If you take the static blocks and you put those in there, instead, you create a static cloud chest. Now the difference is the static cloud chest is multiplayer. It's a public chest that multiple people can get access to. And you kind of want to think about these cloud chests as sort of like ender chests. Like if you have multiples of these cloud chests set to the same color, which we'll go over in a second, you can access all of your stuff from any of the cloud chests anywhere. And if you have a static cloud chest set to a color, everybody on the server should be able to access that as well. So that's the difference between the two. For our purposes, we're going to talk about the cloud, just the regular one. So what you're going to do with that is you're going to put that guy down. Now, one thing to note, it has to be under open sky. So if you have this underground, it won't work. You have to bore a hole to the sky so that this is visible. And then after that, you need to make a balloon. And so to make a balloon, you just take 4 balloon pieces and a string, and boom, now you've made a balloon. And then what you have to do once you have this cloud chest, if you right click on it, it'll say no balloon is assigned to this cloud chest. So if you take one of these red balloons and it's going to want to go in there, it's going to lean towards it like that, and you assign it, what you've just done effectively is you've made this the red cloud storage. This is your red cloud storage. So any chest that you have with red cloud storage, you'll be able to get to. So let's say we just have a bunch of grass and some saplings and some red sand, for example. And let's try to put that in there. Well, you can't. So there's no inventory yet. And you're like, okay, well, what do I do? Well, that's where you start assigning chests to the cloud. So all of these chests here that had, let's imagine they're full of stuff, right? So if we go in here and we put the red sand in there, I'm not sure if the barrels work actually. We'll have to test that in a second. And let's say that's got that and that's got that, right? Well, that's where you take these balloons and you hook them onto your chests and you wave bye-bye. Looks like barrels will work. So now we're going to take these balloons and we're going to assign them out here. Everything on this side, let's say. We're going to assign it to the cloud, right? And so every one of these balloons that you have made, you're going to put on a chest and you're going to let them float up to the sky. So we're assigning everything here to the cloud. And you see it's all floating up to the sky. And then let's say, while that's going up to the cloud, that we have some other stuff. Let's say flowers. Let's just get a bunch of flowers and some wool and some slabs. And that's over here on this side over here. We're just going to put all of these in different chests over on this side. Now at this point, maybe you want to have that stuff in a different network than that stuff was in. So that's where you would dye the balloon. So if you take a balloon, and let's say we put black dye with it, we've now made a black balloon, okay? And now we're going to assign all this to that network. And now we wait for that to go up. Now to access that, you're going to need a black network chest, basically. So you add yourself another balloon chest, and you put the black balloon in that. Now, this takes a while for that to reach the sky. What you're ultimately looking for that to do is to disappear. You'll stop being able to see it. And once it's gone, then you'll be able to access the stuff in there. So if we look right now, it's still going to tell us no cloud storage, no inventory. So now we just wait. So we twiddle our thumbs and we wait for that to disappear. And boom, the first thing is hit, just like that. Of course, right when we were saying it. So now if we look, you can see, oh, that chest that had the red sand is up there, along with a bunch of other chests here. Or, yeah, and they're slowly getting up there. Once they're all up there, then you'll be able to access this. This one's still waiting because obviously all of this red network stuff is going to have to disappear first. So we'll give it a minute for everything to get up and out of there. All right, so it's been a few minutes. All of everything's up there and joined the cloud. And if we look in here now, we can see that all of that stuff that we put in the red network is there. And it sorts it to the top, so you don't have to worry about it like showing up randomly all throughout this. It'll sort to the top all of your stuff. And this guy here has all of the stuff we put in the black network. So it's all there. And to prove this is Ender Chest-like, let's put another 2 down, and we'll assign red to this guy, and we'll assign black to this guy. And now you can see still the black stuff is in there, and the red stuff is in there. And if we take this diamond out of this guy, then the diamond is now missing from that guy. So this platform is one way to get balloon parts and cloud blocks. If you happen to be in a pack that has some kind of mob killing utilities, you can usually build like a little platform above to protect you and set that up. Like in the game that I'm playing, we have the bamboo spikes, and it's just a platform with spikes on the edges of it, and then I can AFK in here, and the balloons and the clouds will come to attack me and kill themselves on the AFK spikes, and then I have some hoppers that'll collect. So that's one way of getting balloon parts, but that could be a little slow. The other thing that this pack does is it adds, and you can see them there, there's a POI there, and there's a POI there in the sky. And if we run over there real quick, I'll show you what they do. And so this one is specifically for the clouds, and this one is for balloons. And they both have spawners in them. And when you get close, as you see, it will start spawning. And so you could set up a farm here as well of some kind with some kind of mob killing thing, and then this will just keep spitting those out. And then in these POIs, they also have treasure box. And so the treasure box will have various things in it, like Happy Cloud Bottle, and you also have balloon arrows, which are kind of cool. It'll come with lapis, and it'll come with cotton candy as a food that you can have. So you can get the Happy Cloud bottles here in the treasure chest, but one thing you can also do is using a regular bottle, you can come up here to one of these, they're called boliviators, and you can probably break them apart so that they get smaller. And you probably want the smallest version of them. And then you can grab them in a bottle. And that'll give you an angry cloud bottle. So these are happy cloud bottles. These are angry cloud bottles. If you take your angry cloud bottle and you add a cookie to it in the crafting table, so you're feeding that angry cloud a cookie, that's how you get a happy cloud bottle without having looted it. The other POI looks like a giant balloon, which makes sense because its spawner comes with balloons. And so if you could build yourself a little farm around this, you can collect balloon pieces. So the happy cloud bottles, once you've got happy clouds, you can come in here and you can make this recipe here, which is a happy cloud surrounded by balloon pieces, and that will give you a balloon buddy. And the balloon buddy is a happy little friend who will follow you around. He's your new friend, and he will hang out with you and attack mobs that you need attacked. He's wandering, he's staying, he's following, just like other pets. Each balloon buddy will spawn with a random personality, and that personality will control how they act. So the first one we have here is the happy balloon. And you can tell that he's the happy balloon because he's got the little sparkles that come off of him. Plus, if you kind of look at his face, it's kind of hard to see unless you're close. He has a smile. And what the happy balloon does is he lowers mob spawns in the area. So if you've got this guy with you, and he's on follow, you won't get as many monsters spawning around you. So he could be a good guy to be taking on exploration and keeping mobs from spawning and attacking you. The next one is Cheeky, and Cheeky, if you look at his face, trying to get him to stop so I can look at him, he kind of has this like one eye wider than the other. Cheeky specifically will fight. See, he's fighting that mob there with his hand. And the thing about Cheeky is he'll dodge arrows and other projectiles. So when things try to attack him, he dodges projectiles. So that's what Cheeky does, is he's specifically good for fighting projectile things. Next you have Scary. And Scary has a scary face, as you can see. And what Scary does is he fears monsters away. So if we come around this corner, and you can see there's a bunch of skellies over here underneath this thing, and we come in close, they'll start shooting at me. There we go. And then Scary will get involved, and you can see now Scary is fearing them away. And so he keeps them away from you. He scares them away. So that's what Scary does. Next we have Punished, and he wears an eye patch, as you can see. And what Punished does is he lowers mob detection. So when Punished is with you, you can get a lot closer to mobs before they know you're there. So this creeper, for example, we can actually creep up on this creeper, as you can see. He hasn't even detected me, even though he's right there next to me. Next we have Crazed. And you can see Crazed has that crazy look in his eye. And what Crazed does is he attacks really fast. So let's say we have a piglin here that's mad at me. Crazed will get in there and Crazed will go nuts beating him up. And he hits a lot. He hits fast. The problem is Crazed also will... He doesn't dodge arrows like the other one does, so he will take a lot of hits. So Crazed is good to have if you're in there keeping the guys mad at you. Crazed will add that DPS to your attacks. Next we have Charming. And Charming's got that side grin on his face, you can kind of tell. And what Charming does is when you come near mobs that say your farm mobs, see? It gets them breeding. So Charming is good to have in a farm. So then you can do this without costing wheat. And finally, there's Cool. And you can tell Cool because he's got the shades on. He thinks he's the hottest shit. Cool, what Cool does, let's put him on follow. Let's get a bunch of zombies out here real quick. What Cool does is Cool distracts zombies. Or distracts mobs. So if we go into survival mode here, they're all going to want to come get me. And then once he hits me, Cool will come and distract him. And it'll lead him away. See, that baby is now trying to go after the hand there. They all want to go after the hand. So he's distracting them instead of putting them on me. The last thing to note about this mob is in villages you'll also find balloon stands now, which is a new kind of vendor that you can have. And you can assign colored balloons in here, and you can see stats on that network. So, for example, this is the color of the stand. You can see there's 3 out of 729 slots available. None of them are static. And if we look at a red one instead, you can see, oh, now we have 4 out of 756 slots. And then with the stands themselves come vendors, who, if we go and take a look at these vendors, they'll sell various things like string and glass bottles, and they'll also sell stuff like the propeller hat and some music discs, things like that. So that's the balloon mod in a nutshell. Like I said, it's quite simple, easy to use, easy to put together storage mod. The only difficulties are collecting enough balloons to add enough stuff to your storage. It's 4 balloon pieces per balloon that you want to add. Um, yeah, so I hope that helped. If it did, do me a favor, drop a like, maybe add a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more like this. I try to do these mod coverages whenever I find a mod that looks like it might need a little explanation. So, yeah, until next time, bye, friends.